The favela was too quiet. When the hill is silent, it means something big is about to happen. On a muggy Friday morning, as the sun was shining in the sky over the North Zone, a military police operation was going up Ladera do Jacaré. No one was going up or down. It was the famous general closure. She walked calmly. She walked slowly, her hair tied in a careless bun, her college backpack slung over her shoulder, and she had a look that could fool even a lie detector. She was too pretty to be suspicious, too cold to be just another student. She didn't tremble, she didn't sweat. She walked down the alley as if she were going to buy bread. "Document, please," said the sergeant with the rifle across his chest and his eyes trained on the lie. She handed it over. Soft voice, sweet smile. The uniform looked, searched over, and nothing. They were about to release it, until a younger corporal, full of malice in his eyes, caught his eye again. Something didn't stick. Full search of her. He said, his voice low but firm. That's when the secret came out. 1/2 kilo between the legs. But this isn't just another arrest in the favela. This woman who fooled half a battalion with a look was way beyond the call of duty. She was the boss's lover. And at the same time, she was seducing the enemy. A hard-line police officer, the kind who dreamed of cleaning up the favela with iron and fire. What was supposed to be just a prison turned into a dangerous game. Love, desire, revenge, and death. What no one knew was that this triangle would set the favela on fire, and only the men in black from BOPE would be able to put it out. Want to know how this ends? So sign up now, Canal Conflict Route. Here, the favela speaks and the truth appears. Activate the bell and join us, because this story, partner, it's just beginning. The clock read 6:12 in the morning when the car radio crackled. Attention, attention. Alpha team, now going up through the Campo do Beco access. Closed hill. I repeat, closed hill. At the base, the atmosphere was tense. The drug gang had already woken up, but they pretended to be asleep. All the windows were closed, the gate was locked with 3 padlocks, and the kids had drone eyes on the roof. They knew the house was going to fall. The armored vehicle advanced slowly, echoing through the narrow alleys of the Jacaré favela. Rifle out, finger on the trigger. The troops were breathing heavily. André, the most experienced corporal in the garrison, had a dry look in his eyes. It wasn't fear, it was focus. He had learned not to trust even a shadow. "Today we do, brother. We're hunting that son of a bitch Marco," muttered Soldier Tellez, carrying the rifle as if it were part of his body. "Don't talk too much, just observe," André interrupted, his eyes already glued to the doors, the windows, to every soul that was hiding. In Mangueira Alley, the troop stopped. Everything was too quiet. That's when she appeared, wearing white sneakers, denim, shorts, a college tank top and a bun tied up as if she had just left home for class. Leticia, the straight-A student at Federal, painfully beautiful, with caramel-colored skin, a gentle smile, and a look that could pierce through any armor. She was carrying her cell phone in her hand, as if she didn't even know about the operation. "Good morning, gentlemen. May I come in?" Her voice was calm. It didn't tremble. Her heart wasn't even beating fast. She had rehearsed it. She had done it before. "Document there?" asked André, without taking his eyes off her. She handed it over. "Real ID. Clean name." The backpack was light, just books. A cursory search was done. Everything seemed fine. The soldier who was with André was about to release him. But then André stopped walking. Something about the way she walked didn't add up. Her breathing was too controlled, too much, and there was a slight discomfort in her walk, almost imperceptible. But for him, it was enough. "Wait, bring her to the back of the police car. I want a complete search. Female." "Come on, bro, seriously? I'm a student, look at my badge," Leticia replied, still calm, but with a slight tremor in her voice for the first time. "Exactly because of that. You're too good at disguise." The female police officer arrived. She took Leticia to a corner. The search began, and then all hell broke loose. "André, 1/2 kilo, inside it," said the police officer, her eyes wide. There was general silence. Andrei took a deep breath. He didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He just looked into her eyes, and for the first time he saw something different, a fear that she tried to hide with dignity. "Who are you really?" She didn't answer. She just lowered her head, and for the first time let a tear fall. Raised in the heart of the community, the daughter of a hairdresser who supported her family with a hairdryer and prayer. A father? She never had one. The man who gave her blood disappeared before he even knew he was. And going to have a daughter. Leticia grew up in a tight spot, but with her head held high. She was intelligent, spoke well, and read more than a Portuguese teacher. At school they called her Doctor. She was always on the honor roll, always at the front of the line. She had made up her mind she was going to be a lawyer, one of those who defends those who have been wronged. The kind of dream that in a place like Jacare was almost a miracle, but life likes to test those who dream big. At 19, she passed the entrance exam for law at a federal university. She cried to her mother and promised she would never disappoint. But there, in the interval between crowded buses and hairdressing shifts, the real world came knocking without asking permission. The rent was late, the food was missing, the electricity bill became a threat. And that's when he appeared, Marco, a guy who was king of the favela, clean-shaven, wearing a thick gold chain and a sharp smile. He was the drug lord, but he acted as if he owned a legitimate empire. He had the latest car, the latest generation cell phone, and a smooth talker that disarmed any resistance. "It's hard, isn't it?" he said, leaning against the door of her mother's salon as she swept her hair at the end of the day. Leticia looked at him with disdain, but he insisted. "You don't need all that, you know. I can help you. You just need to walk with me and trust." At first, she refused. Too much pride. But bills don't accept dignity as a form of payment, and little by little he started coming in, first with gifts, then with invitations. One day she agreed to dinner. The next, she went to get a book and came back with a 2,000 real watch on her wrist. When he saw it, he was in. Not in drug trafficking yet, but in his world. Marcone treated her like a queen. He gave her the best of everything, but everything had a price. One day, he called her to the corner. "I need you to bring me something. Quickly, discreetly. You're a student. No one is going to search you. I trust you." Leticia hesitated. "What is that? Drugs?" "Just a little package. 1/2 kilo. They won't even notice, and you'll get 1,000 just for the delivery." 1,000, Leticia, in less than an hour." She closed her eyes. She thought about the empty cupboard, the fridge, growling with hunger, her mother saying everything was fine when it wasn't, and said yes. The first time, it was easy. The second time, it was even easier. In a short time, she had the boss's complete trust. He called her my personal lawyer. But that wasn't all she wanted. Leticia was smart. She knew that with intelligence and beauty, she could go much further. It was thus that, in one of the operations that the Hill underwent, she met Andrei. The first time they looked at each other was with shock. He was pointing the gun. She was smiling as if she didn't owe anything, but there was something there. She felt it. He felt it too. His serious, firm manner, but with the tired eyes of someone who saw the world sinking and couldn't do anything. The next day, she returned to the Hill with the hidden package, and she had the nerve to smile at him again. Andrei was suspicious, but was delighted. He started following her on social media, snooping around in her life, and little by little, without realizing it, it turned into a dangerous game. Leticia knew he was a police officer, and he knew she wasn't just a student. But even so, the game continued. 2 sides, 1 girl, and a war about to explode. Andrei was never much of a talker. He learned early on that amidst the noise of the hills, those who talk too much bleed first. He was raised in Iraja, in one of those square buildings with mouldy walls and gossipy neighbors. The son of a military police officer, he grew up hearing more gunshots than bedtime stories. His father was one of those old-fashioned hard-line men. He would come home with his uniform sweaty and his eyes red with anger, at the system, at the criminals, and sometimes even at life itself. At 14, Andrei saw his father get shot twice in a shootout in Baihada. He survived, but was never the same again. From that moment on, the boy decided, I'm going to become a police officer, but I'm going to be different. When he joined the military police, he didn't go into it with illusions. He knew that the uniform was a target, and that there are no heroes in the favelas. There are only survivors. But he believed in one thing, detail. While others were looking at what was in front of them, he focused on what no one else could see. A shorter step, a look away, a drip from the corner of the mouth. Andrei would catch it in mid-air. That's why, in a short time, he was already known as the battalion's sniffer. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for Leticia. In that first operation, when she appeared in the alley, it was as if time had stopped. In the midst of people running, women screaming, and the radio blasting in our ears, she was so calm, cold, beautiful, and dangerous. Document there, he said, not knowing that that moment would change everything. Once he found out what she was carrying, he started investigating. At first, it was just work. Name, address, family, bank account information. Everything seemed clean, but he felt that something was hidden. He started following her online, social media, stories, likes. Leticia showed the life of a regular college student, books, coffee, classroom. But there was always a gap of hours without a trace. That was when she disappeared and drug trafficking took over. Andrei tried to get away. He warned the captain. He asked not to participate in the raids on the Jacare anymore. But the truth is that I didn't want to walk away from her. I wanted to understand. I wanted to protect. Maybe I wanted to save. One day, he found her outside the favela, in a square near UFRJ. She was sitting reading, the same calm posture. When she looked and saw him, she wasn't scared. "Are you going to lock me up here too?" she asked with a smirk. "If it were up to me, you would already be far from this life," replied Andrei, sitting on the bench next to him, armed but vulnerable. The conversation was short but intense. They exchanged words as if measuring territory, but they had chemistry, that tension that gives you goosebumps, that mixes risk with desire. After that, they saw each other again, always far from the favela, as if there, outside the alleys, they could pretend they were just a police officer and a student, that there was no drug trafficking, no bope, no ambushes, just two strangers trying to understand each other. But inside, Andrei knew. He was on the edge of the abyss. He was getting involved with a criminal, with the boss's wife, and in a slum where any false step turns into a wake. But the heart doesn't listen to the corporate radio, and that's when he made the first mistake, stopped investigating Leticia, and started protecting her. The hill has eyes, it has ears, and most of all, it has memory. No matter how much Leticia pretended that everything was under control, the buzz started. First, a loose comment at the mouth of the alley, then a conversation at the van stop. People talking quietly, laughing in the corners, like people who already know too much but pretend they know nothing. "Is Leticia hanging out with a police officer? Be careful. Marco is jealous." She pretended not to hear. But inside her stomach churned, because she knew, in Marco's world, trust is more valuable than life. And once it's broken, there's no going back. And like every paranoid king, Marco began to smell betrayal. He called Leticia one night after the third glass of whiskey. "And this Andrei guy? I heard that you talked to him outside the favela." She took a deep breath, feigning contempt. "Stupid cop. You followed me once, but you've already gotten off my back. Relax." Marco narrowed his eyes. His voice came lower but sharper than a butcher's knife. "Just to remind you, police officers and my wife don't mix." Leticia smiled, fake. "And I'm just your wife, right?" Marco remained silent. She left, with her chest held high, but her soul alert. That same night, Letitia sent a message to Andre. "I need to talk. Urgent." They met in an empty parking lot near the train tracks. It was raining. She was wearing a hoodie, no makeup, and scared. "They're starting to get suspicious," he said, his voice firm but his eyes trembling. "I told you this game was dangerous. Come with me now. I'll get you out of this." She laughed, a nervous, almost desperate laugh. "How can you get me out, Andre? Where are you going to hide me? I betrayed the leader of the hill, the owner of the favela. They'll kill me just for thinking about it. I'm theirs now." Andre didn't accept. "You're yours, and there's a way out. But for that, you have to help me. Let's take down Marcon." She froze. "Are you crazy? We record him, catch him. You pretend to be with him, steal something. A video, a shipment, any fucking thing. I can get a warrant. I'll make him fall down good. And then, how do I live? With an escort? New identity? I swear I'll protect you." She remained silent. Inside, it was war. Betraying Marcon was practically sign your own sentence. But continuing to be a drug mule with the police on your trail was like digging your own grave with your own hands. Accepted, but with one condition. It would be in her time, in her way. The plan started out simple. She got closer to Marcon. She started forcing conversations about the scheme, as if she just wanted to feel important. She recorded everything with a device hidden in her necklace. She handed the tapes to Andre little by little, through secure contact points. The siege was closing in. Andre took the material to the civil police chief. They got the authorization. Operation underway. Marco's days were numbered. But remember what was said back there? The hill has eyes, and the hill saw. A police officer, the kind that no one notices, caught Letitia handing over a hidden pen drive during a phone call. That was enough. The news spread on the bandits' radio faster than a police siren. Marcon didn't say anything that same day, nor the next, but he planned, in silence. Letitia thought she was on top. She thought she was dominating both sides. But in reality, she was just caught in the crossfire, and the worst was yet to come. The sky had been grey since early morning, a stifling heat, as if the air was heavier than normal. It was war day, but no one knew it yet. Andre woke up to a message from her. Today at 8 p.m., he'll show you the deposit. The location came next. An abandoned warehouse near Pedrera, an area under Marcon's absolute control. This was gold, the chance he needed, the final proof. The arrest warrant would come in full force after this. Andre took a deep breath and decided to go alone. He didn't notify the EG battalion. He didn't call the civil police, didn't wait for Bope. Why? Because it was her, and he trusted her more than his own intuition, and that, on a battlefield, is a death sentence. He arrived early. Dark warehouse, gate half open, the sound of crickets mixed with the distant barking of a dog. Too empty, too quiet. But he was. He entered with his gun in hand, a bulletproof vest on his body and his heart beating faster than usual. Was it adrenaline or a warning? At the back of the shed, he saw Letitia, with her back turned, standing, alone. "Letitia," he whispered firmly. She turned around. Her eyes were watery. Her mouth was half open. She didn't say anything. She just pointed to the side. And that's when he saw it. It wasn't a warehouse. It was a stage, and he was the target. 3 armed men emerged from the shadows, rifles, hoods. No words, no warning, just the sights. Andre turned his body, cocked the gun, and took cover behind one of the pillars. The most insane shootout of his life had begun. Letitia shouted, "I didn't want to. I tried to warn you." But it was too late. Marcon had discovered everything. He set the perfect trap. He knew about Andre's obsession with Letitia. He knew he would come, and that he would come alone. The game had changed. Andre took down the first one. He crawled, reloaded. He was grazed by a bullet in the shoulder, warm blood running down his sleeve. The second one tried to surround him. Andre threw a flash grenade. The flash exploded, like thunder. Another one on the ground. But the third one was fast. Trapped between concrete, rotting wood and bullet cracks on metal, Andre pressed the emergency button on the radio, a code only for extreme cases. Skull code. And this code has a name. BOPE. 2207. Radio bursts at the Special Operations Battalion HQ. Code Skull confirmed. Agent on hostile ground. Immediate reinforcement. Without hesitation, the Skulls stand up. Equipment, weaponry, order in the shout. Let's get ours. If we're going to die, let it be by bullets. If we're going to live, let it be by cleaning up this hell. BOPE leaves, and when the Skull comes down, there's no talk. There's a coffin. Meanwhile, in the shed, Andre was bleeding. Letitia knelt next to him, begging for forgiveness. I tried to warn you. They took my mother. They said they were going to kill her. I had no choice, Andre. Forgive me. Forgive me. But he could barely hear. The sound of blood in his ears drowned out everything. He could only see figures approaching. He was ready for the end. That's when hell broke loose. Explosion at the entrance to the warehouse. The first Skulls come flying in like armored demons. Without mercy, without pause. Rifle in hand, knife in boot, cold eyes. They sweep everything. One by one, Marco's men fall. Letitia runs. He tries to run away, but in the middle of the rush, takes a stray shot to the abdomen. I fell, screaming. Andre tries to crawl towards her. Letitia, hold on, I'm here. But she's bleeding too much. She looks at him, her breathing is failing. She says just one sentence. I'm sorry. I loved you. Her eyes go blank there. The last Skull appears next to Andre. Look at the chaos. Aim at the back of the warehouse. Marcone ran to the alley. Let's go after him. Andre, even though he is hurt, gets up. He looks at Letitia's body on the floor. No tears, only hatred. He won't get out alive. The siren cut through the early morning sky like a razor. The radio in the armored vehicle roared with short, cold orders. Inside, the armored vehicles armed themselves in silence. No one smiled, no one trembled. In the middle of them was Andre, wounded, covered in dried blood, and with a vacant look in his eyes. He was no longer the same cop who believed in strategy, protocol, or negotiation. Letitia had been the last line that kept him on the right side of the war. Now it was just hate and ammunition. Destination, Morro do Jacaré. Objective, Marcome. Eliminate, ordered the BOPE captain. At 3:47 a.m., the armored vehicle pulls up to the entrance of the favela. The radio is turned off. Silence takes over. And then hell begins. 03H Fiftro. Marcome already knew. Ever since the leak in the warehouse, he had been preparing himself. He climbed to the top of the hill, put his lookouts in the alleys, and warned everyone, "It's kill or be killed. BOPE is coming with blood in their eyes." The alleys became trenches, mattresses on the windows, barricades of rubble, kids with radios in every corner. The favela was ready, or I thought I was. Why nobody is ready for BOPE. 04-803. The first doors burst open. Smoke, gas, screams. A Skull screams, "Surrender or go to hell." On the other side, gunfire erupts. Tracer bullets streak across the sky. Explosions shake the shacks. A helicopter circles overhead, casting light on the death rows. Andre advances with the group at the front. The blood on his shoulder has already turned into a black stain. He sees every corner, as if the world were in slow motion. Every scream, every step, every enemy taken down. He's in a trance. They rise through the favela like a black wave, silent and lethal, skull by skull, cleaning every alley, every staircase, every hole where a rat could hide. One of the soldiers announces over the radio, "Marcome is at the HQ on the top floor of the slab, with 3 armed men and 2 human shields." Andre listens and responds directly, "Leave it to me." 04827. Marcome was cornered. For the first time in years, the owner of the favela was afraid. He had a rifle in his hand, but his hand was shaking. Sweating, panting, he shouted, "They're not coming up here. I'm the king of this shit. I rule this favela." But the noise coming from the stairs was contrary. Firm footsteps, one by one, until he sees the silhouette at the top of the steps. Andre, without a vest, without reinforcement, just with a gun in his hand and the look of someone who has already died inside. Marcone widens his eyes. You should have died in the shed, and you should have kept quiet when you had the chance. Shots. They both fire almost at the same time. Andre rolls to the side, hits the first henchman in the chest. The second shoots and misses. The third tries to run. There's no time. Andre takes aim and takes him down. Only Marcone remains. The two face each other in the middle of the slab. Marcone's gun is unloaded. Andre's still has one bullet in it. Marcone throws the rifle on the ground. Are you going to arrest me? Andre walks slowly. His hand is steady. His gaze is lifeless. No. A single shot. Cold. Precise. Marcone falls to his knees, then to the side. Dead. Speechless. Without glory. Just another name crossed off the hill. 05010. The favela fell silent. The bodies were removed. The weapons were seized. The operation ended with a negative balance. Leticia buried under cold stares. No one cried. Not even Andre. He stood from afar, watching the coffin being lowered like someone watching the end of a film he didn't want to have lived. When he returned to the battalion, he handed over his weapon, his badge, and asked to be removed. He only said one sentence: justice and revenge go hand in hand, but only one of them comes home. At the top of Jacare, the sun rose red that day, as if the sky knew that there was fresh blood mixed with the mud spread across the slabs and alleys. But life, it goes on. Zeka's bar opened at 8 a.m. Aunt Maria fried pastries at 9 a.m. The kids were already at the field before 10 a.m., but no one spoke loudly, because what happened that morning became a legend. It turned into a whisper. It became a story told at the combi stop, in supermarket queues, on barbecue nights. Did you hear? Leticia, that pretty student, died. It was in the middle of the crossfire, right? They said she was with Marcone and the police officer, all at the same time. Some say she tried to save them both. Others say she sold them both. And there are those who say she just wanted to live. But in the favela, that has a price. The versions varied. Each one increased 1 point. There were people who swore they saw Leticia wearing a police vest. Some said she was an informant from the beginning. Others think she was just a lost girl, trying to survive in a world where all love is a trap, and every choice is costly. About Marcone, it became a warning. The kids who dream of being the boss or the owner of the hill now hear from their elders, remember Marcone? He was in charge of everything. He thought no one would touch him until they did, with a uniform and a rifle. And Andre, no one else saw it. Some say he went to the Amazon to hunt bandits in the jungle. Others swear he freaked out and was hospitalized. But the truth disappeared with him. Like the sound of a gunshot in the early morning, it echoes, scares, and then disappears. All that remained was history. The story of a college student who seduced a drug. A dealer drove a police officer crazy and made the hill bleed. Leticia, the coldest mule the hill has ever seen. Beautiful, smart, deadly. Now there's a wall graffitied with her name on the alto staircase. Here lies Leticia, neither saint nor demon, just a daughter of the hill. And every time a caviron comes up, and every time a new girl appears with an easy smile, and every time a police officer looks at someone from the favela, someone remembers and shuts up, because in the end, Leticia became a legend. And in the hills, legends are more dangerous than bullets. And so ends another mission in the favela. If you like this story, leave a like. This really helps the channel to continue bringing more content like this. And tell me in the comments, what would you do in Andre's place? Why do women mess with men so much? Why do they become so vulnerable? There are more missions coming, so stay tuned to Rota de Conflito so you don't miss anything. See you next time.